Welcome everyone. So I'm going to cover a small topic of blood grouping today. I'm pretty sure all of you must have heard this term that I've donated my blood today. I've just done a blood donation. Or even you must have heard that somebody who underwent a surgery or who unfortunately underwent some accident, he is in severe need of blood. Now, in this case, what is done is one person's blood is transfused or given in the layman's term to another person. Now, when we are doing this, it has to be made sure that the person who's receiving the blood should have blood group which is compatible to the person who's donating the blood. Now, in order to understand this compatibility, first we need to know on what basis are these blood groups created. Each one of us know that through our blood vessels there is a continuous flow of blood. So that is how, if we go inside our blood vessels and see, that is how the blood cells or blood will look like when it is flowing. So this blood has many components, or we call them as blood cells. They are red blood cells, white blood cells, and plasma and platelets. These are the cellular part of blood. Apart from that, there is another part of blood that is called as plasma. Plasma has maximum, that is 91% of it, as water, and remaining other components, again in which the major components are proteins. But our focus right now is to the formed elements or the cellular structure, that is RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. And in that, majorly blood groups, for blood groups, we need to know are the RBCs. So inside the bloodstream, that is how the cells are flowing. The animation shows you the flowing of RBCs. This is how a single RBC looks. It is a disc-shaped cell which contains the major volume of blood, and it gives our blood a red color. So this RBC will have a component called as antigens on a surface of RBC. Now there is a possibility that the RBC can contain several different types of antigens. Now the immune system of our body works such a way that the plasma part of our blood creates antibodies. These antibodies are useful whenever there is any foreign body that is entering into our system. These antibodies will help to fight with those foreign bodies and protect us from any infection or disease or any of the uh, errors that could take place inside our body, that are antibodies. So talking about antigens, as I said, those antigens are present on the surface of the RBCs. These antigens are the ones that determine individual's blood group. The individual person will make antibodies which are corresponding to these antigens, but not of their own type. We'll see what that means in short while. If antibody and antigen are of same type, they would react, causing a transfusion reaction. So the diagram shows three different RBCs. The surface of first RBC does not have anything. The surface of second RBCs contains one type of antigen. We call them as antigen A. The third image of RBC has second type of antigens present on its surface, whom we call as antigen B. And the third one, or the last one, the fourth one, has both the types of antigens present, that is antigen A as well as antigen B. Now, as I already told you, this is in terms of RBCs. plasma part of our blood who's responsible for creating antibodies. Now, as we see in second image, RBC has antigen A. That means there will be some person whose RBCs will have such kind of an antigen, that is antigen A, connected to their surface of RBCs. Their plasma will be producing antibodies which are of type anti-B. Similarly, if a person has antigens B present in their RBCs, the plasma will create antibody A. So that is the opposite. Antigen A, antibodies B. Antigen B, antibodies A. But what if a person has both the antigens present? Just the way you can see in the image 4. The person has antigen A as well as antigen B present on the surface of their RBCs. In this case, this plasma will not have antibody A as well as antibody B. The first case shows an image wherein there is none of the antigen present. Yes, that case could also be very much there, wherein RBCs will not have any antigen present. And in that case, such person will have antibody A as well as antibody B present in their plasma. Now, as we have this slide in front of us, let me tell you which sort of blood cell will give us which sort of blood group. So, as we know that image 2 that has antigen A present to their RBCs will be called a blood group A. So, a person who has antigen A, his plasma is producing antibody B, will said to have a blood group of A. Similarly, if a person who has antigen B onto their surface of RBCs, the plasma will produce antibody A and a person's blood group will be called as blood group B. A person's RBCs who has both antigen A as well as antigen B will not produce any of the antibody and their blood group will be termed as AB, since there are both A and B present. And the last, in this case, as shown in figure 1, person does not have any antigen and his plasma will have both the antibodies, anti-A and anti-B. The person is said to have blood group O. O shows absence of both the antigens, antigen A as well as antigen B. Thus, you can see here in this table, I will repeat what I just said in the tabular format so that you can have it in front of you. Antigen A, when it is present on the RBC, in plasma, there will be anti-B antibodies and a person will have blood group type A. Person who has antigen B onto their RBCs will have anti-A antibodies and its blood group will be termed as blood group B. Person who has both antigens A as well as antigen B will not have any antibodies and will have a blood group of blood group type AB. And last person who does not have either antigen A or antigen B will have both the antibodies present and its blood type will be called as blood type O. Now, all of you have understood what these blood type or blood groupings mean. Next thing we need to understand is why can't a blood group A give blood to a person who has blood group B? So as I said, just pay attention or observe this here. Person who has blood group A has antibodies B, which is compatible with antigen A, but it is not compatible with antigen B. Whereas a person who will have blood group B will have antibodies B, which are compatible, antibodies A, which are compatible with B but not compatible with A. Now understand that one person is in need of blood. His blood group is blood group A. Okay. So in his bloodstream, in his plasma, there will be antibodies B present. Now by mistake, if you give him the blood of antigen B, that means blood group B, when that blood enters into the person's bloodstream, it will react with antibodies B because they are not compatible with each other. Hence, what will happen will be a transfusion reaction in which our body's immune system will consider blood that is incoming as a foreign material and a harmful material, and it will kill those blood cells, considering that it is trying to attack our body. Hence, there will be a transfusion reaction and the receiving of blood will not be proper. Similarly, if a person has blood group B and we try to give him a blood group A, same thing will happen. Now, all of you must have heard these terms, universal acceptor and universal donor. And you all know, I'm sure, AB are universal acceptors and O are universal donors. But have you thought why so? Now pay attention here. In next 2 minutes, you're going to get this answer. As you all know, as you all are aware by now that antigens B and as well as antigens A, both will be present in a person who has blood group AB, whereas their plasma does not have antibody A as well as antibody B. So that means any of the blood tries to enter into the person who has blood group AB, it does not have any antibodies to fight that. So it will accept whichever blood is coming. Similarly, observe for blood group O, it does not have any antigens. So let it go to person who has antibody B, let it go to a person who has antibody A, let it go to a person who does not have any antibodies, or let it go to a person who has both the antibodies. Since there is absence of antigen, there is no scope of any transfusion reaction. Hence, O can give blood to any of the blood group. So now you know why O is called as a universal donor and why AB is called as universal acceptor. Thus, if individual is transfused with blood of the same blood group, that is with the same antigen present, it will not be a foreign material for the immune system, and hence that blood will be accepted. So immune system will accept that blood. However, if a person is given blood of a different group, then antigens will not match and immune system will attack it and destroy the transfused cells. So just to give few statistical realistic check, 55% of population has either antigen A or antigen B or both, whereas remaining 45% of population has none. So 45% of people will be O blood group, whereas 55%, remaining 55% can be either A or B or AB. The corresponding antibodies are called as anti-A and anti-B. Blood group A cannot make antibodies anti-A and they make anti-B. So when you think about a pair, antigen A, antibody B, antigen B, antibody A, just have this in your mind fixed. Hence, AB is a universal acceptor and O is a universal donor. So you've had overall idea of how this ABO system works. Still, there is one part that you usually call when you give your blood group or when you give your blood group to anybody, when you tell your blood group to anybody. You are either A positive or A negative, O positive or O negative, AB positive or AB negative, right? So there is this positive or negative part which still we have not considered. That is something called as a rhesus factor of the blood, but we will be seeing that in the next video. That's it for now. Bye-bye.